Kamala Harris doesn't seem to understand economics, wants to be everybody's best friend, and is going on to podcasts to talk about the economy, and yet saying stuff like this. Take a look, you guys. This is Kamala Harris going on to a little show, a podcast, and she's trying to talk economics, but it's really kind of uncomfortable. She doesn't understand what she's talking about, so she keeps going back to the well. I was born in a middle-class family with a mom who blah, 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 blah. She also gets herself into trouble. If you listen carefully here, tell me if you know where it's going. We'll talk about it.
Going from a show to a whole entire company, what is your your economic plan moving forward for people who are living paycheck to paycheck and struggling for groceries and rent and homeowners?
So look, I grew up, so my sister and I were raised by our mother. We lived for a long time in an apartment on top of a child care center. That child care center was actually owned by a woman who lived 2 doors down from us, Mrs. Shelton.
Okay, you understand why you can't debate this woman. Like, she doesn't actually answer the question. She goes on this big wild tangent. I'm from a middle-class family. My mom, blah, blah, blah. You know what? She's from a super duper academic family, which is a whole elite thing unto itself. It's like more elite than the elite. But let's continue listening to Kamala Harris digging herself in deeper and deeper and deeper. Just wait for it.
Who was, by all of our accounts and feelings, our second mother. She helped raise us. And so
this played better on Oprah.
She was a small business owner. So I'll start with the small business, and congratulations on what you guys have done. I, from a child, knew who our small business owners are, right? I mean, you're business leaders, but you're also civic leaders. You take seriously your voice and how you can mentor, how you can grow, right? Communities and the sense of communities. I love our small businesses. And so a lot of my work in terms of building and growing the economy has focused on small businesses.
Okay, wait for it. Listen carefully. And remember Silicon Valley Bank.
And my vision overall is we need to build an opportunity economy in which we increase opportunity for all, including small business owners. So a lot of my work, even in the Senate, was about increasing access to capital through our small businesses, and in particular through our community banks. Mm-hmm. So I've been responsible for billions of dollars more now going into our community banks, because they're in the community, and then they know who's in the community and where the talent is and who's doing good in the community, what the community wants. Mm-hmm. And so part of my plan as president.
She's so dumb. She's completely forgotten what happened under her watch. Silicon Valley Bank. Oh, she was so into making sure that they just loaned money to everyone. It turns out they were loaning money maybe to people that you shouldn't have been loaning some money to. This goes back to like Barney Frank. Remember 2008 and the subprime mortgage crisis? And you had all these subprime loans out there. I mean, it was no income, no assets. They called them Nina loans back then. Kamala's a big believer in Nina loans. In fact, she doesn't actually think you actually even have to be a citizen or have any record of anything in order to get a big, giant mortgage. So this has been tried. Like, you know, if she wasn't so busy with Willie Brown and what's the other guy's name? The talk show host, Arsenio Hall, like maybe she would have actually paid attention to what was going down in 2008. I'll tell you, I was out in California in 2004, and I remember saying, gosh, like this is scary. People are getting these loans and they don't know what they're getting. They're just concerned about the price that they can pay for their mortgage right there on the sticker. They don't understand what they're signing up for. And then when mortgage rates readjust, as they eventually will, because eventually the Fed will have to raise rates, guess what? Those mortgages are going to go up, and people will not be able to pay their bills. They will not be able to pay for their mortgage because they don't have jobs or they're bad credits. So why was everyone on Wall Street lending to them? Oh, that's where the government comes in. You see, this is why socialism and communism, it just doesn't work. Barney Frank said, oh, we got to lend to everybody. Remember him from Massachusetts? We got to lend to everybody. And so there are all these provisions put in place to encourage all this lending. And that meant that you would take a basket of very clean loans with good credit scores, right? People that you knew were going to pay the money back. And Wall Street would package them up, and they'd put these little bad ones in there, here, there, and everywhere. It's like making an omelet, right? And you have these nice fluffy eggs, and then you take some vegetables, most of which are pretty good, but you take a few rotten vegetables and you throw them into the mix, and you then present the omelet. And it's presented as though it's a fully healthy omelet. And they thought if they could just diversify this risk, the bad vegetables, through all the different omelets, that at some point it would be okay, and they'd diversified the risk enough. To which I kept saying, and I have a tendency to be kind of ahead on these things, by the way. It's one of the reasons I started 76 Research, because I'm like, I got to do something with all this knowledge. I got to help people, because I just kind of have a sixth sense for it, having covered the news as often as I have. I'm just going to put 76 Research here for you so you can see that. But back to the mortgages. So they were spreading these mortgages all over, right, guys? And that meant that everybody kind of had a hand in this thing. And they thought that this would actually reduce the risk. To which I kept saying, it's actually going to increase it, because now everybody, all these counterparties, have exposure. This is because of people like Kamala Harris, because of people like Barney Frank, that were like, we need to be equitable. We need to make sure everybody can get a home loan. She wants to do the exact same thing all over again, and she's so moronic that she's forgotten all about Silicon Valley Bank and the bad loans that they made. JP Morgan had to bail them out at the 11th hour. It's a California bank with a California girl who doesn't actually care about capitalism, which has fueled our economy, making it the success it is. So go to 76 Research. I promise you, I will never, ever steer you wrong. Our entire goal there is to make sure that we are helping you diversify and invest for the long term. I mean, I can't predict if the market's going to go up or down in any given week or even any, given month, but I do have a feel for a longer term scenario, as does Rob. And Rob has spent his entire career picking stocks for 20 some odd years, running billions of dollars. So we're trying to do what we can. This is my way of sort of giving back. If you just want to get the 76 report, go to 76report.com, sign up with code word dollar. You get it for $1 a month for the first 2 months, and it goes to $9.95. You can cancel it any time. So at most, you're out zero, all right? So take a chance. Start paying attention to your future today. I want to just also point out, Kamala Harris is so lacking in her depth that now she's out trying to become likable by way of making herself into a Doritos commercial. I kid you. I hope that she gets a deal with Doritos when this is all said and done. When she loses, maybe she...
One of my guilty pleasures, especially when I'm on the road, are my Doritos.
Oh, what flavor?
Nacho. Old school, original.
OG.
Come on.
Yeah. OG.
Come on.
Red bag.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
Red bag.
That's exactly. Got to have a napkin nearby.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow. Does she think that that's like Regan and jelly beans? Is this like the modern day version, Kamala and Doritos? I really do hope that when it's all said and done and she loses, and gosh, she better lose. If she doesn't lose, we definitely have a lot to talk about, okay, the day after election. When she loses, she can become the Dorito queen. All right? That's kind of where she belongs. On a bag of Doritos. Not Wheaties. Now, this isn't healthy stuff here. Doritos. You get it? I mean, this is a little layered here. But this is about her speed, the unhealthy junk food. She's trying to sell America a load of junk. And we just have to hope that people are smart enough. I think they are. I really think they are.